Hello again and welcome to another video from the Marketing Study Guide. In this video we're going to have a look at why most companies should have good customer satisfaction scores with their own customer base. My name is Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, very quickly, what is customer satisfaction? You probably know this already, but just to explain it quickly, it's the intersection between what customers are expecting to get pre-purchase and what they perceive they get in terms of value following the purchase. So when you think about it, it's just a point of comparison between I was expecting this, I got better or worse from it. Okay, and that point of comparison, which could be quite analytical, or it could be a very quick reflex depending on the complexity of the product purchase, the level of involvement and the importance of the purchase to the consumer, will end up in this scale here. I've got three boxes here, but the scale works up and down, so that if expectations are here and the perceived value is well in excess of that, then the customer is delighted. They're very satisfied. If it's roughly the same in line with expectations, then they are just satisfied or reasonably satisfied. And expectations here, and I got less than I expected, then the customer is going to be dissatisfied or possibly very dissatisfied. Okay, for example, I'm out on holidays somewhere. I see a restaurant. It looks okay. It doesn't look the best, but it looks reasonable. There's nothing much else around. I don't have a choice. Okay, I'll go get some lunch. I walk in, the food is great, or the value is great, or the service is great, or something about the restaurant was really good. Even though my expectations were not excessive, they were just expecting something okay. The delivery in my mind and my perception was up here. That creates a positive satisfaction, because there's a mismatch. Anytime there's a mismatch, or we push to very extreme in terms of satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Okay. But the problem is why we end up with positive customer satisfaction over time in most businesses is customer satisfaction is dynamic. Okay, and what happens is experience impacts expectations over time. So in that restaurant example I gave you, I had no prior experience with that restaurant. I was just judging it by the way it looked on the street, were there customers there, how clean was it, how did the staff look, how did the aromas, could I see any food, was it clean, etc. I was using a series of physical evidence and bits and pieces to draw a conclusion about quality and then my expectations. But now I'm a customer. Okay, so here I had vague expectations because they weren't really based on just my observation and what I could work out. Maybe if I had a phone and I could look up reviews, etc., that would have strengthened that expectations. So initially, they're quite vague. Then I become a customer. And so, as I said, this one was quite good. And so I could go back several times. And over time, my expectations go from being vague to being quite precise. And what happens is customer satisfaction starts to jump around. Now, initially, I was expecting not a lot. I came in, it was pretty good, positive satisfaction. The next time, I'm expecting a lot higher because the service and the value was quite good the first time. So I expect more. My expectations have gone up. Hence this arrow here. We're heading up. However, the next time, for example, maybe there was a different chef or a different customer service experience, or I ordered something different and it wasn't as nice, and my customer satisfaction has gone down. Or potentially it was still the same. Okay, let me explain that. So expectation here initially, delivery here positive. I then go back the next time, I'm expecting up here, or at least equal. So if there's a variation, I could still be quite satisfied, or more likely dissatisfied. So if we have a look at here, we've got this sort of jumping around, particularly the first few times visiting, because I'm getting a sense of the company and what they offer. Eventually, I reach this equilibrium where I've got the two arrows here, where I have a expectation range. I know that these meals are good and this customer service is good and it's going to be in this range. So my customer satisfaction level is not going to move around over time. And if something goes well or something goes poorly, I have a history of encounters to draw upon and go, oh, okay, that was a one-off, or gee, that was good today. But I'm not changing my expectations because they're built on multiple interactions now, or encounters rather than just one. Okay, so what happens is why companies get good customer satisfaction scores is pretty much this. Firstly, any delighted customers, that was me the first time. Walked in, expecting this, that was delivered. Fantastic, delighted. The next time, I've raised my expectations because, I know what to expect. And eventually, my expectations will connect very closely to what is happening or what I'm going to get because I've been there several times. So I go from being delighted the first time, but as a long-term customer, I align my expectations to what's going to happen. And this arrow here, this one here, I progressively becoming satisfied regular customer. I'm unlikely to be delighted over and over. So most customers will be satisfied, and that's to be expected. Very hard to, deliver over and over because expectation, deliver it. Oh, expectation, deliver it. You've got to keep doing it, and that's virtually impossible to do longer term. And over here, if I walk in and I was expecting not a lot in this case, and it was even worse than I expected, I would never go back. So dissatisfied customers disappear. So your customer base becomes primarily satisfied. Any dissatisfied customers are typically short-term. They'll try you once or twice and they'll stop being customers. And any delighted customers with multiple encounters or multiple purchases will shift. Very few here. So these are relatively first-time customers or new customers. Most long-time customers are here. So that's why when you survey most customer base of any business, customer satisfaction scores should be relatively high because of this factor. Okay, couple of exceptions. One, companies that have above average customer satisfaction scores ongoing have to be doing something to keep raising the bar, if that makes sense. And typically they've got to continually improve, continually innovate, bring something fresh and exciting to the customer. Some companies can do that, but the reality is that is very difficult to do longer term. Okay, so you've probably got maybe 5% of very innovative companies sitting in there. The other 95%, the cost of doing it, the effort, the ability to keep doing it is extraordinary. Okay, so probably not too many sit there, but some sit here. And then down here we've got companies who have a lot of dissatisfied customers. Why would that happen? They have got lower satisfaction scores. That happens because there's probably switching barriers. I'm dealing with that business, but I don't want to, but it's too much effort to change, and we're locked in by a contract, there's financial considerations, or there's an effort to change. Okay, so I've got examples there of a bank, so you've got all your banking details, and you've got to go off somewhere else and fill in forms and restart. Medical, you might have been seeing a doctor for a long time and they know a lot about you. Potentially you're a business and you've got long-term relationships with a legal company who knows your history. So again, to restart fresh from a legal perspective, and you've got to teach them everything about the business, etc. Or even as a university student, you might not be very happy at your university, but you're halfway through your degree, and if you have to change, you might have to do extra subjects or units, and you mightn't get the required credits, so I'll just put up with it. Okay, so that's why we end up with typically satisfied customers overall. Hopefully that was a helpful video for you. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos.